Good evening, and welcome into our final 2019 edition of Golden Eagle Sports Report. I'm Shane Hogan.
And I'm Dan Abington. As Shane just said, this is the final episode of GESR until the spring semester. But don't worry, we've still got plenty of Marquette action to speed you up on.
We're talking both basketball teams and volleyball tonight. We're glad you could join us, so buckle up, Marquette Nation, because Golden Eagle Sports Report starts right now.
Slam dunk! Oh, that's a poster.
Live from the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio at Marquette University, this is Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Marquette gets the rebound, and the champions have gone down.
We actually have some live action taking place between the Marquette women's basketball team and Mississippi State at the Al McGuire Center right now, so let's send it over to Jack Phillips.
Thanks, guys. Well, right now, as you can see behind me, they're doing the starting lineups for both Marquette and Mississippi State, and it's kind of funny. Both these teams met last year in 2018, back in December, when Mississippi State, ranked number 6 at the time, took down the number 18 Golden Eagles, 87-82. And it's kind of funny, both leading scorers for Mississippi State and Marquette are no longer part of the program, so plenty of new things for Marquette. And you look at Megan Duffy as her first year as the head coach for the Golden Eagles, so she'll have plenty of challenges ahead with Mississippi State. But in terms of top 25 challenges for Marquette, it's the exact opposite for Mississippi State. It's looking at their 2020 season. They're actually playing 5 other top 25 ranked teams throughout the entire 2020 season, so nothing new for that team either. And with Marquette, obviously, before I send it back to you guys, looking at Mississippi State, they have one player that Marquette really needs to watch out for. That's number 4, Jessica Carter. She's averaging 19.2 points per game, as well as 11.4 rebounds. A couple weeks ago against Murray State, she actually dropped 25 points and 18 rebounds, a double-double machine. Nonetheless, Marquette and Coach Duffy are going to have plenty of challenges cut out for them. But I'll send it back to you guys in the studio. We'll have the recap tomorrow morning.
Thanks, Jack. The women are actually coming off a crucial win against UW Green Bay last Tuesday.
Selena Watt's return supplied a huge spark for Marquette, and as John Steppe tells us, the team was all smiles afterwards.
How do you go into a hostile environment and leave with a winning smile? Well, it helps when you start with an 8-0 lead.
So if you look at the percentages, maybe they weren't great, but the timely baskets, and that's got to fuel your team with confidence that, you know, when it gets tight, that we're ready to step up and hit shots.
And when your opponent goes almost 10 minutes without hitting a shot.
I thought our defense tonight was pretty special. You know, we know they're so good inside, posting up, and then if Green Bay hits threes, you're kind of in trouble. So we tried to use our athleticism a little bit more, really follow the scout.
But don't forget having your star player return from injury, scoring 18 points with 9 assists and no turnovers.
You know, we're just such a different team from an experience side of things, from an IQ side of things when she's on the floor.
Bringing back bragging rights from Green Bay for the first time since 2007. There's not much time to dwell on the win, though. Number 10 Mississippi State is in town on Monday. Just don't remind Coach Duffy.
I thought we canceled that game.
Reporting from the Crest Center in Green Bay, John Steppe, Marquette Wire Sports.
With that, we now want to welcome in one of our women's basketball analysts, Zoe Comerford. Zoe, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's always a fun time.
Absolutely. So let's start it off, Zoe. Marquette earned that huge win against Green Bay. What went right in that one?
I think definitely getting out to that 8-0 run to start the game definitely gave them that spark at Green Bay. And I think that having just such a big lead gives you a lot of confidence when you're in an opponent's arena. And I think that and then they held them to just 15% shooting in that first quarter. So that also definitely helped them to kind of limit Green Bay's scoring and kind of get Marquette on that spark. Definitely.
Yeah, it was a huge win. First one since 2007, like we heard from John Steppe in that one. So this was Selena Lott's first game back after an undisclosed injury, and she came back 18 points, led the team. How important was she in this one and moving forward for the team?
Exactly. She's the only returning starter from last season, and I think she's been a crucial part. I mean, she shoots 60% from the field and 44% from three, so she's been a crucial part to this Marquette offense in the early beginning stage. And I even think that if she would have played in that Northwestern game that they took to overtime, Marquette would have won that game.
There you go. That's a good prediction there. And in that game, though, we saw 11 threes combined from Selena Lott, Jordan King, Izzy Spingola. What would you say fueled the momentum for this Marquette offense?
I think just coming out of that third quarter and hitting four threes is just a huge confidence booster and just giving them that sufficient lead, and then they just kind of took it away, and having that momentum, hitting those shots, you're like, all right, I have confidence, I'm just going to go up for it and shoot them, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, and Izzy Spingola has been lights out from three to start the year. How important is she for this offense?
I mean, she is definitely super important. Last year you saw her coming off the bench, obviously with those 5 starters, seniors, and now she's really getting a bigger role, not just like that, but also for leadership. And I think she's done a really nice job at just kind of taking that leadership role.
Into her new role.
Yes, exactly, stepping into that new role.
So the Golden Eagles scored 24 points off of 13 Green Bay turnovers in that game. How did Marquette's defense help the squad get their first road win?
I mean, you have on the defense, you have Altia Anderson, you have Lauren Van Clunen, and you have so many different players that can be there for those rebounds. Chloe Murata averages 8 rebounds per game, so she's been a crucial. Exactly, she's been a crucial part to this Marquette defense, and I think if they can keep that up, that's going to be really helpful down the road in those Big East games, that they're going to have to play really good defense.
So Zoe, we saw Jack just gave us that live report from the starting lineups going on against Mississippi State. What can the Golden Eagles do to come out with a win against this big-time program from the SEC?
Yeah, I think you look at Mississippi State. I mean, they're number 10 in the country, and obviously they beat Marquette last year. But I think the thing is that they are 5-0 this season, but they really haven't played that top teams. So I think the biggest thing Marquette needs to do is really get out to a strong start, like we said, against Green Bay. They got out to the 8-0 start. They had the confidence. I mean, obviously they have the crowd at the Al McGuire Center, so that'll help with the fan engagement and everything. But I think if they get out to that quick start and kind of stay strong on defense and have Chloe getting those rebounds or Lauren, so I think they could have a really good game. But I definitely think it's going to be a really tough one for this young Marquette team.
Yeah, and speaking about kind of the inexperience, these young players haven't seen a big-time opponent like Mississippi State. How do they step up to the challenge here tonight and moving forward, especially getting into Big East play?
Yeah, exactly. And I think having those, 6 new freshmen and a transfer is really hard because you had, Alizé Blockton and Nishisha Heidemann, all of those high caliber players last year that are now gone. So I think the biggest thing is that this new team really needs to get with their chemistry, get with their momentum, and kind of find their style of play. Megan Duffy calls it the Marquette way. So they're trying to find that right now and just the chemistry between players. And I think that they definitely have a lot having Selena Lott returning as a starter and Izzy Spingola hitting those threes. So I think they have a really strong team as of right now, a good core moving forward. Yeah. And I think just getting those players like Jordan King and all of the freshmen kind of ready is definitely going to help them down the line in Big East play.
Absolutely. Well, Zoe, thanks for coming on the show. Always good to hear from you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're diving into some Marquette volleyball. So don't go anywhere because Golden Eagle Sports Report will be right back. Welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report. Once again, I'm Shane Hogan.
And I'm Dan Abington.
The volleyball team had a busy final weekend of the regular season, taking on Creighton and Providence.
All eyes were on the matchup against Creighton to decide the Big East regular season champion and the #1 seed in the Big East tournament.
The Golden Eagles won the first set 25-22, but after that, it was all Creighton. The Blue Jays won the next 3 sets and secured the victory.
Senior Allie Barber led with 13 kills, and junior Hope Works added in 12 of her own, but the Creighton offense proved to be too much for Marquette.
It's now been over 2 full seasons since Marquette last beat the Creighton Blue Jays.
Marquette was able to put the Creighton loss behind them as they turned their attention to Providence on Sunday.
The cross-country trip to Rhode Island proved to be a successful one as the Golden Eagles swept Providence 3-0.
Marquette came out hot, dominating the Friars 25-9 in the first set, but then the second was much closer.
Marquette was able to pull away 28-26 in the second thanks to some big-time kills from Allie Barber.
Then they easily won the third set, capping off the season finale with their 25th win.
The Golden Eagles will now transition into their preparation for the Big East tournament, which takes place this weekend here at the Al McGuire Center.
We now want to welcome in a special guest to our show, one of the Marquette volleyball players, senior setter Lauren Speckman. Lauren, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
So your team just wrapped up the regular season. Any major highlights? What did you think of the year?
It's been good so far. I mean, obviously our preseason, beating Wisconsin, beating BYU, both some great victories, played some great teams, and then coming into conference and doing well in conference. I mean, it's been fun. It's been good, and hopefully we'll keep moving that forward.
Any specific matchups in Big East play that stick out to you as having special significance?
Yeah, the Creighton games, obviously, tough losses. Those are rough, but Seton Hall is a good one. I mean, 42-40, that's always a record to go for. Yeah, I mean, there have been some great ones. Everyone in the Big East is fun to play, so the matchups are fun.
You mentioned that Creighton has kind of been the biggest test for the team. What about those matchups makes them so hard?
Yeah, I mean, Creighton plays extraordinary whenever they play us, and it's tough. They're a great team, and they've got a great coaching staff behind them, and I think that we're just going to have to kind of keep pushing through mentally, physically, and yeah, they've got a great crowd at home who understands volleyball, and that really helps them as well.
Might match up with them again in the Big East Championship. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, hopefully. Another one at the Owl would be nice, but knock on wood, I mean, we got to win Friday first, so.
So, as you mentioned, Big East playoffs this weekend. Any scouting report on Villanova? What are you most looking forward to?
I mean, today was an off day. It was a long road trip going from Omaha to Rhode Island. But yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to be at home. Thanksgiving kind of at home is nice. Hopefully we'll have a decent-sized crowd. Parents will be nice. So yeah, it'll be fun. It's always fun to play at the Owl.
So you're committed to play beach volleyball in San Francisco in the spring. So how excited are you for that, and what kind of went into the decision to play again?
I'm super excited. It should be a lot of fun. Sand is a little different than the court, but yeah, my decision was kind of just, I didn't want volleyball to end yet, and I get more education out of it, so kind of trying to keep kicking the can as far as it'll go down the road.
Have you played beach before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but in California it's fairly big to do.
Makes
so
sense.
we do it from time to time.
So you're about to end your impressive Marquette career. Looking back, any major memories that stick out to you?
I mean, last year's always one to talk about. I mean, going to a Sweet 16, hosting the first round at home. This year beating Wisconsin, BYU, like I mentioned, all fun. But yeah, it's been a blast, and I'm lucky to be a part of it, and hopefully I want it to keep going as long as it can.
You got any big Thanksgiving plans here since you'll be home?
Yeah, all the Big East teams in the tournament are going to have dinner together Thursday night, so a little camaraderie before we all have to go play each other.
Very interesting, very interesting. You'll have to let us know how that one goes.
I will, I'll keep you posted.
Well, thanks again for coming, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much, thanks for having me.
Well, it's going to be a time for another short break, but don't change that channel because we've got a lot to discuss regarding the Marquette men's basketball team when we get back right here on Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report. It's now time to turn our attention to the Marquette men's basketball team.
The Golden Eagles had a somewhat calm week, playing only one game. Let's take a closer look.
The Golden Eagles took on Robert Morris Saturday afternoon here at Pfizer Forum.
Marquette was looking to bounce back after a rough loss in Madison.
Marquette came away with the win, but as I witnessed firsthand, it was not pretty.
A win's a win, right? Well, it depends on who you ask. And even though Marquette only scored 19 points in the first half, they still came away with the win. Saturday's matchup with Robert Morris looked like a good opportunity for the Golden Eagles to get back on track. However, it was the turnovers and lackluster offense that showed up at Pfizer Forum.
Obviously, we were being loose with the ball, and we had a lot of travel calls, especially first and second half. So that's things that are real sloppy that we got to clean up. Those are mistakes that we can control. So we just got to get back doing the fundamentals and things like that. Because we can't afford to have those little turnovers, especially going into Orlando. We're going to be playing some big-time opponents.
The first half was hard on the eyes, and Marcus Howard was nowhere to be found. But then out of the break, the Golden Eagles were led by some unlikely candidates.
It was really good. Brendan would tell you, he'd be the first to tell you that he could have played better to open the season. However, I thought he was huge for us this afternoon. And it was good to see that lid come off the basket for him. But I also thought he did some good things defensively as well. I thought Scar, really played like a veteran. strong drives. I thought he played with a senior's presence, so I thought he was huge for us. When his backcourt mates didn't necessarily have the games that they're accustomed and or capable of having.
Marquette looked like a different team in the second half. But Robert Morris wasn't going away easily. With 30 seconds to go, Dante Treacy nailed a three to make it a 3-point game. But that wasn't enough, as Marquette was able to hold on to get the victory. From Pfizer Forum, alongside Jack Phillips, I'm Shane Hogan, Marquette Wire Sports.
We now want to welcome in one of our men's basketball analysts, John Steppe. John, thanks for coming on the show. First time this year.
Absolutely. Thank you. Pleasure is all mine.
All right. So starting off, John, your overall thoughts from the game on Saturday.
Well, I really think it was sloppy. I think it might have been a little easy. I mean, they had Wisconsin on one end.
Yep.
Then you have on the other end, Orlando. It's maybe a little easy, overlooked Robert Morris. Not really an impressive team.
Mm-hmm.
But Robert Morris showed they can really play, and Marquette made a lot of mistakes. Was not their cleanest performance by any means. And a lot closer than I think anyone was hoping that would be.
Right.
But in the long run, a win is a win.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about in that highlight video there, 21 turnovers. It's been a problem for years now in the program. How can they figure this finally out? I mean, they got a new point guard. Marcus isn't holding the ball as much as he used to. How do they get rid of this issue?
Well, I think there were a couple things. First of all, they kind of forced the ball into the post time and time again during that game.
Right.
Also, a lot of them were really silly mistakes.
Yeah.
Sloppy stuff.
Traveling.
Yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't, if you're 18 to 22 years old, be called routinely
Yeah.
for traveling. So I really think that's a lot of it, is just clean up your play. The other thing, too, with those turnovers is it could have been a lot worse.
Oh, absolutely.
First half, they
without a
had
doubt.
13 turnovers, resulting in only 6 points for Robert
Right.
Morris. If that was, say, 13, 15, 18 points,
Right.
it's a much
It's a
different,
different game,
Yeah.
for sure.
And you talked a little bit about how sloppy it was for a lot of different players, but Scar Adam actually looked pretty good for Marquette. He led the way with 14 points. What were your takeaways from the redshirt seniors game that day?
Well, he really needed to, considering the fact that if you look around him, there's not much. Kobe was not having a good game. Marcus wasn't having a good game. Sakar has to step up, and Marquette's looking for that third scoring option behind Kobe and Marcus. Sakar made a decent case. I don't think it's a spectacular case. It wasn't perfect. But he made a decent case for being that third scoring option for the Golden Eagles.
And honestly, all season long, that's going to have to be his job. I mean, we know Sam and Joey Hauser aren't here anymore.
No, they're not coming back.
No.
They're not jumping out nowhere in
So
Pfizer
let's accept
anytime
it.
soon.
You know, let's accept it. We got to move on. I'm sure Coach Wojo would say the same thing. But at the same time, if you want to be realistic here, this team has to score more points. And when Marcus isn't going to have a 30-point game, Sakar Adam has to be the guy that steps up with Kobe McEwen.
And you're seeing more teams shut down Marcus is
Right.
the other thing. He went, I want to say, it's about 46 minutes without any scoring.
Right.
46 minutes of game time. If you do the math and do actual minutes, probably somewhere in the 8,000
Use your
or
calculator
so.
on that one.
I should. Well, you look at, though, Marcus is going to have those off nights. Marcus is not going to be dropping 45 each game.
Right.
Opposing coaches can really just dial down on Marcus because it isn't like you have Sam Hauser shooting 40% from three
Right, exactly.
on this team. So he's going to have this. You need games where Sakar, maybe a Brendan Bailey, maybe a Jamal Cain step up and have a larger offensive presence.
You guys were talking a lot about the turnovers in that game.
Yeah.
How much of that do you think was due to the fact that Marcus wasn't on the floor for a majority of it because of the 2 fouls?
I think it might have been a little more of just forcing it down into the post more so than Marcus having foul trouble. I think that maybe that played a little bit of a part when, okay, you can't just rely on Marcus chalking up a three,
Yeah.
so they have to really rely on that post.
And now this is a team that's built. They can, when Jace Johnson's fully healthy, they can have 2 big guys on the floor at the same
Which
time.
still hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Not yet,
But
'cause Jace
down,
still hurt.
but down the
Yes.
line, that's something that they can use to their advantage.
That's
I
an
mean,
option.
yeah.
I mean,
So they gotta get used to it,
Villanova,
though.
maybe a little later into the Big East year around late January. If he's fully
Right.
healthy,
But what I'm saying
that's
is they
gonna help a
got to
lot.
get used to playing that type of game because that
Yeah.
clearly has not been the identity of this team.
without a
the
doubt.
last
No,
few
it's
years.
a much bigger transition compared to being those smaller ball.
Yeah.
We can really shoot the perimeter, but we can't really score down low type
Right.
teams. So, yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time to transition, and it's easy to overlook that against Robert Morris.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Before we look ahead for the Golden Eagles, we wanted to keep talking basketball, just not on the Al McGuire court.
Senior guard Marcus Howard may be the reigning Big East Player of the Year, but as Amy Galashewski tells us, Howard sees his role at Marquette as a lot bigger than just playing basketball.
Marcus Howard succeeds for Marquette basketball on the court after becoming Marquette's all-time leading scorer and earning Big East Player of the Year for 2018. However, Howard strives to make a difference off the court as well. He has created a strong community of Marquette student athletes through an organization he started last year, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, also known as FCA.
Being able to, be a part of FCA, start FCA, has only, enhanced my relationship with God, I think, even more. Just being able to be in a leadership role in terms of my faith. It's been something that has been great for me in terms of being able to have my own type of different relationship with God. So being able to help lead others and this kind of light has been something that's been really cool for me in my development. So I think having FCA has been probably one of the things I'm most proud of in my entire life, not just for basketball.
The Sunday night meetings give Marquette student athletes the opportunity to unwind after a long week and focus on strengthening their relationship with God.
I would say that this is probably my favorite part of the week, just because it's Sunday. So, Sunday usually doing a lot of work with school, trying to get caught up. So to get a little break and to come, eat some food and hang out with friends and get to talk about God is like such a great stress reliever for the week. I love it.
Each meeting, different guest speakers come in and leave the students with a powerful message.
And the things that I was trying to do, I kept hitting the wall.
While Howard is proud of the current community that he's built, he plans to expand the organization.
Our first meeting we had like 8 people, and I know like you guys saw today, we're like closer to 20, 30, and like it's awesome. Every year, every week, we usually get a new person. Like I know Mark today is in my class. He's not part of athletics here, but he really wanted to come, and I was like, yeah, like we're not exclusive to just athletes. Like if we can make this a campus-wide thing, like we'd do it.
Reporting from the Al McGuire Center, Amy Galashewski, Marquette Wire Sports.
So obviously, Marcus makes a difference on the court, John. But
Yes.
what does his role with FCA say about his character off?
I think it really speaks a lot to his faith. The fact that he wears number 0 because, as Zoe Comerford said in a recent Tribune story, that without God, he is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it really speaks to how much faith is really at the center of his life.
Yep.
And it also speaks to him wanting to leave a legacy that's not just on the court, but off the court. And you really see that with creating FCA, with going to Costa Rica for a service trip.
Mm-hmm.
He's done this time and time again. He's done different things to really make sure that, okay, he has all-time leading scorer on his resume already.
Got that done.
First 2,000-point scorer, too.
For men's basketball,
Right,
yes.
right.
Already Alizé
Can't forget
Brockton on
Alizé,
women's
that's right, that's
basketball.
right.
But
Good catch.
on top of that, this is building that other side of his resume.
Mm-hmm.
And I think FCA is a great way to do that.
I got a segue for you right here.
Oh, man.
Speaking of faith, Brendan Bailey, we know about his past with his Mormon mission trips. We want to talk about his play now on the court. See what I did there?
That was great.
Not
Really
bad.
good. Really
I'm
good work.
impressed.
Really good.
We heard Wojo talking earlier about finally getting some good play out of Brendan Bailey. What does that mean for this team? Because I will be the first to say I've been the biggest critic of Bailey's play. Head scratching at times, but finally looked like the guy that they recruited and that should be starting on a big time program. So what did you see from Bailey, and how encouraging is that for this team?
Well, since last October of 2018, gotta do my math here. But since I first saw him in the season ticket holder open practice in October 2018, I've noticed a much different Brendan Bailey in practice on the Al McGuire Center court than on the Al McGuire court at Fiserv Forum, where he's looked a lot more confident in practice, but when it comes to Fiserv, it's not translating.
Right.
And you finally are starting to see maybe a couple steps towards getting to a more confident Brendan Bailey on the court at Fiserv. And that's huge, because if he looks like how he looks in practice, he could be an NBA player.
It's gotta
Shane, as you've
translate,
seen,
gotta translate.
he's not been an NBA player
far from
on
it.
the Fiserv floor.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good sign against a team like Robert Morris. You can pick up maybe a little more confidence than you usually do.
Well, John, thanks for coming on and talking some Marquette men's basketball. It was great to have you.
Great to be on.
Well, that just about does it for us tonight.
Thank you for watching tonight and throughout the entire semester. We appreciate all of your support, and we look forward to bringing you even more Marquette sports content in the new year. Signing off, I'm Shane Hogan.
And I'm Dan Abington. Good night and happy holidays, Marquette.